Breaking news. Granny is in love. Hey there, and welcome to the Totally Fierce Crochet channel. My name's Thomas, and welcome to a Valentine's Day double feature this week, because not only did I show you how to nuke the Hot Love Pets pot holders, but also I will show you in this tutorial how you can crochet my favorite Granny Square Doily in the Valentine's Day edition. No, I could have just went with the Granny with 12 hearts, just like I did it with the Granny with 12 skulls. But of course, Granny's in love just works perfectly. And quite honestly, I'm so in love with my Granny Square Doilies that I just had to make a Valentine's Day edition with 12 hearts as a pattern. I hope you can see it. I know it's always a bit tricky to see it, but once you have it on the table, you will see the full glory of the Granny Square Doily. Again, if you haven't made a Granny Square Doily yet, I encourage you to do so because it's so much fun. It's super easy. So when you are able to make a Granny Square, you can easily make such a beautiful filet crochet Granny Square Doily. And you have all the possibilities with different patterns. And this is just super lovely. And in true Totally Fierce tradition, you will of course also get the PDF in the description with the free pattern, so you can make yourself this beautiful Granny Square Doily. Make sure if you want to print it out to use the second page, so you have it a little bit bigger. So are you ready to celebrate love with this beautiful Valentine's Day Granny Square Doily? Let's go! Okay, so here's what you need. First, make sure to go to the description and search for the link to get the PDF with the written pattern or the visual pattern. There's a little written description down below here as well, where I just wrote down the most important steps to make your Granny Square Doily. Then you have the graph right here, and it basically shows you exactly where to place double crochets and where to skip one and chain one, and also how the pattern will look like. And for a better understanding, because here we only show a quarter of the Granny Square Doily, in the end it will look like this. So you will do 4 times the same pattern all along until you reach your finished Granny Square Doily, which then could look something like this. The yellow cross here in the center is basically our corners, our Granny Square corners, but I will explain everything in a bit. And the second page is like the page if you want to have it printed out. You can use this. It's a little bit bigger on a full page, and you can take this then as a reference, and I will also leave that down here. Then, of course, the yarn. Always use cotton when you do something like this, because it's just the easiest, and then later on you can easily also wash it. I'm using the rainbow cotton from Hobby. It's an 8/6 quality, and I think the color 58, I think the name was just red, so as a reference. And they say we would need a crochet hook 3 to 3.5 millimeters, and I'm going to use a 3.5. You probably can't see it because it's barely visible, and the more I crochet with it, the less visible it gets. I really should think about writing it somewhere down here, so I always know which hook size it is. Then, of course, a yarn needle to sew in the ends, and of course some scissors to cut the yarn, and we are basically good to go. I will not show you the whole 20 rounds. I will only show you the first few rounds, and then you can continue with the pattern. And then in the end, I will show you how to make the border and then block it, and then it's basically done. In terms of blocking, you don't have to block it, but I highly recommend it because this will always help to make the visual and the pattern look super nice and super crisp, and you will have a better chance seeing it. But again, it's not a must, but just a recommendation. And we are good to go. I will leave this right here. And we are good to go. We are going to start, as I always start, with granny squares with a magic circle. Here's my method of doing it. I do as if I would do a slip knot like that. And then I take my end yarn and pull it through the center ring or center loop, just like that. And then I close my slip knot, pull the yarn down, and place my hook in there. And here we go. Our magic ring or magic circle is done, and we can start working in. The first round is almost like a regular granny square, so we would start with a fake double crochet and not a chain 3, of course. And for the fake double crochet, we are going to go in the magic ring, grab the yarn, pull it through, yarn over, and pull through both of the loops. You now basically made a single crochet. Then you go back into that front bar, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through both of them to create the fake double crochet. Now we do 2 double crochets, so you yarn over, go in the ring, grab the yarn, pull it through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. Then we do the next, just like we did it before. And now we are already at our very first corner, and other than for the regular granny square where we would always chain 2, for the granny square doily, because we need a little bit of more space in the corners, we are going to chain 3 in the corners, and this will also be for the following rounds. And then we do our next cluster of 3 double crochets in the magic ring. Here we go. Then again, chain 3 for the corner. And the next set of 3 double crochets. And our last set. So again, chain 3 as a corner, yarn over, and 3 more double crochets. And this was it. And now to finish the round, we can already close the magic ring a little bit. As you can see, you already get a very nice squarish shape. And to close the round, and this is going to be the closing of each of our 20 rounds, is always the same. So first we chain 1, and then we make a half double crochet into the top of our fake double crochet. So we yarn over, go in the top of our fake double crochet, yarn over and pull through, and yarn over and pull through the 3 loops on your hook, and that guarantees you that you are always in the center of your corner and can then start from there with round number 2. And for round number 2, let's check it. We have 3 blank squares. So I just realized that in my pattern there's a little mistake, because in our first round, of course, we would need to have the 3 double crochets. So I will correct that later on in the link. It should be correct because this is basically here. So sorry, my fault. Just a human here. In case you were wondering, no AI. And let's continue with round number 2. And round number 2 are 3 blank squares. So in the end, we are going to have on this spot here 3 blank squares, and then the same on all 4 sides. But let's just make the first one. So when we start a round with a blank square, what you can remember is that we always chain 4. The chain 3 represents our first double crochet, and the chain 1 is already the space in between the double crochets. And then we can yarn over and place our next double crochet right in the top of our fake double crochet from the first round. And like that, we have our first blank square here. Then we skip 1 stitch and chain 1, and then make the next double crochet right in the last double crochet of the previous round. And if you want to, it's absolutely optional. You can try to go a little bit lower into the double crochet so that in the end you also get like this third loop right here in the back, because if you do it like this, then the structure will be a little bit tighter, and you will get less gaps and less holes throughout your piece. But again, it's absolutely optional. You don't have to do it. Then we need a third one. So we chain 1, and then our last double crochet in this quarter is basically in the middle of our chain here. So we had a chain 3 for the corner. So we are going to place the last one in the middle chain element, and we are also trying to go underneath both of the top loops. This can sometimes be a little bit tricky, so just to be sure. And here we go. And now we have our 3 squares up here, just like we see it here. We are at the corner, so you know what that means. We chain 3. And then we do the exact same thing 4 more times. Our first double crochet is going to be in the same corner chain middle stitch where we were. Then we chain 1, and then we go into our next double crochet. Again, if you want to, make sure to go underneath the 2 loops from the top in the back of the double crochet. Then again, chain 1. Then we go in the top of our last double crochet on that side. And then again, chain 1 and go into the middle one. This one I will most probably not get in one go. If you have difficulties getting that last or that center chain stitch under both of the loops, just go through the first loop or the front loop and then go back with your hook and just pull the second one with your finger over. Usually that should work. And just like that, here we have the next 3, and here always like on the 4 sides here, this is then also the yellow part of the pattern. So just in case you were wondering, so you always have like one straight line in all 4 directions, and we're at the next corner. So we chain 3 and continue like we had it. And I will meet you once I'm at the end of round 2, so I can show you again how to close the round, and then we can start with round number 3, where I will show you how to make a full square, and from there I can let you go. But first, let's finish round number 2. So I'm at the end of round number 2, and there's just one more double crochet left, and this I wanted to show you because this can be a little bit tricky to find, because this is where we then started our beginning chain 4. And what I do is that I usually go right in this double loop right here in this top chain, because that is the most obvious one to get, so I'm choosing this. And now we can close the round. Again, we chain 1, and then we do a half double crochet, and this time in the 3rd chain element from the bottom, or the second from the next double crochet. And again, we go under both of the loops and make our half double crochet in there. If you want to, you can at any point close the magic ring. This is absolutely fine. And here we go. Our first 2 rounds are done. Maybe I put it there so it's a little bit easier to see. And then we can continue with round number 3. And round number 3 has 2 blank squares and then 1 full square and then 2 blank squares. And I will just show you how to make that, because after that it's pretty much just following along the pattern. So again, a blank square means we have to chain 4. Then we yarn over, we go into our first stitch right here and make our first double crochet. Then we chain 1 and the next double crochet on top of the previous. And now we have a full square, so we yarn over and we just go in that chain 1 space that we have in between, again under both of the loops, and make the next double crochet and then yarn over and place the last double crochet on top of the previous one. And just like that, we made a full square along our way. And then from there, we just continue chain 1 and go into the next space by skipping 1. So you really have to think about a grid or a pixel sheet or whatever. So it's always like little squares that we are building from each round to achieve this filet crochet technique. Personally, I think it's super easy, and it's also something super relaxing because it's the same thing 4 times, and then all the corners are the same, and it's just super fun. So I will finish this round. I will show you once again how to finish the round, because you need this for all of the following rounds. And then I will just show you quickly what you do when your round starts with a full square, even though round number 4 is not a full square. So see you in a little bit. So it's the end of round 3, and again we chain 1 and then we do a half double crochet into the 3rd chain element from the bottom under both of the loops, and yarn over and pull through all 3. And here it is, round number 3. And now I will just quickly show you what you do when the round starts with a full square. Luckily for you, this only starts at round number 17, but again, it's absolutely no problem at all. So when a square starts with a full one, then instead of chaining 4, we just chain 3. And then we yarn over, and then we go into those 2 loops from the half double crochet that are a little bit towards yourself on top. And this is where we place our first double crochet in. And then we yarn over and make the 3rd one. And like that, we started the round with a full square. And from there, we can just continue like we had it. So this is just to show it to you in case you're a bit lost when you reach round 17. Also, make sure in the beginning it goes super fast. You will be at round number 9, 10, 11 in no time, but trust me, the longer or the higher the number of the round gets, the longer it will take. And I will meet you once I reach the end of round number 20, and then I will show you how to make the border. See you, have fun! So here we are at round number 20, and doesn't this look super fun and beautiful? I'm always so impressed when I see this, and I just can't stop looking at it. I mean, those are like little heart faces looking right at me, and it's absolutely beautiful. Of course, it curls a little bit because of all the tension. So if you don't block it, you always have to like drag it a little bit to bring it in shape. But I think overall you can see the hearts. I mean, this is just absolutely beautiful. And now I can also show you how to make the border for your Granny Square Doily. Of course, you can leave it as is, but I think it's always nicer to have like a little bit of a pretty border all around it. And this is where we ended at round number 20. And now the first thing that we do is that we go in the front stitch and start with a slip stitch like that, because now what we are going to do is to always alternate slip stitch, chain 1, and then double crochet, and then again slip stitch, chain 1, double crochet. So from stitch to stitch, from stitch to stitch all around. So we are now like at a stitch in between basically double crochets. So now we are going to chain 1 and then yarn over and place a double crochet in the top of the previous one. And from there we go directly down into the next stitch and make a slip stitch. This will give us this little rounding up here that I think is absolutely pretty and looks awesome on the Granny Square Doilies. Then again, we chain 1, yarn over, go into the next stitch with a double crochet. And after that, we go directly down again with a slip stitch. So very simple sequence to do all along. And you can also keep track a little bit if you are right with the sequence. So whenever you have like a double crochet, it should be on top of one of the main axes of our grid, basically. And when you do the slip stitch and go down, you are always like at a space in between. This is going to is a bit hard here to see because we have like a full solid part up here on top. So let me just go to a blank square so you will see it a little bit better. Here you can see it. Now comes one of the main double crochets and we do a double crochet on top of it. And then we go in our chain 1 space and do slip stitch, chain 1 again, then yarn over and the next double crochet right here, and then again back in the chain space and double crochet. And like this you can continue all along right until we are back here, and this is where I'll meet you to finish off the Granny Square Doily. And I'm at the end. My very last stitch is a double crochet in the final corner, And then we go down, connecting to our very first slip stitch, again with a slip stitch, and then we can cut the yarn. There's not much left. In the end, I needed almost 3 skeins of this, just in case you were wondering. So if you want to make the heart granny square, you need 3 of those, and those are approximately 105 meters, 50 grams. So in the end, 150 grams is enough to make your granny square. And then I will yarn over again and pull the yarn through, pull the knot tight, grab the yarn needle, because now the only thing left would be to incorporate the yarn end, and I will just go in there, and then I will go down this double crochet, and I will go along. And then we have the beginning. Usually the magic ring should stay close, but just in case, I will just go through some of the stitches again. This shall do. And now the only thing left, again, it's optional, but I definitely recommend it, would be to block it. I will definitely block it. So first I make it a little bit wet, and then I take my blocking mats and give it a nice stretch out. As always, I will keep the camera recording while I block it, and then your doily is done and ready for your table.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you will have the best season of love this year. Maybe with the Granny Square Doily, maybe with the Noob's Hot Love Pets, who knows, maybe both. And I definitely plan to make the Granny Square Doily a seasonal thing. So what's next? Easter. But this, of course, we do another time. So until then, happy crocheting. Bye. Spread the love. Love is everything. Love wins always.